So this is Algebra 1, Semester 2. This is the fourth unit called Exponential Functions. It's the first lesson called Radicals and Rational Exponents Practice. So it is on creatormath.com under the Algebra tab. You might have to type into Google creatormath.weebly.com to find the website. Copy the following problems into your composition book on the correct pages according to the table of contents with the notes for those pages from creatormath.com. creatormath.weebly.com. Here's what the website looks like from the home page. Click Algebra 1 to go to all the lessons and the video lessons, and this is the vocab for it. Pass by the vocab. You're going to need this PDF to do all the vocab assignments, by the way. Go to the table of contents. This should be copied in full for semester 2 on pages 2 through 6 of your composition book. Every line gets a line. Scroll down to the unit we're in. This unit is exponential functions. We're in the first lesson of that unit called Radicals and Rational Exponents. Here's the page numbers it goes on in your comp book. Please use the table of contents from the current website, not this video. This will be different by the time you watch it. To find notes, click Notes. It might take opening a couple times to see those notes, and it might be a picture of my notes or the board. It kind of depends. So this one's not loading. You might have to go back and reopen it. I do sometimes, and it's never gone more than twice. See there, I just saw it flicker. That means it updated. And now you'll be able to zoom in on the notes and copy these into your composition book. So they're going to talk about a square root symbol over a value. In this case, it's a variable, and what powers are on each, and it's a fractional power, x to the 1/2. We're going to explain that in a minute. But these are the notes you need as background material before you do the practice problems. We can multiply the value by itself any number of times defined by the power, and the reverse is of the power is the root. So we'll talk about power and root. Power, x to the 2 is the power, multiplied by itself that many times, x times x. So the root is the root symbol, and then the value outside of the root symbol. Might be a little hard to see, apologize for that. And fractional power is a power that is a fraction, fractional power. Superscript is this position here. Subscript is this position down here. What else do we have? Some sample problems you're going to copy into your comp book, and then you're going to use these to do these problems, either on this worksheet or on Schoology or some other format maybe. So let's start with the first. Given the square root of x. So here's an x. And the square root. That's a square root symbol. Square root symbol actually has 1, 2, 3, 4 lines to it. However, if it's in the computer, you'll often see this kind of symbol, and it doesn't actually have the roof over the x. This means square root in terms of the computer. So square root of x, they say, what is the power of the x? So that's interesting. There's two things going on here. There's a power on the x, and it's going to be the power 1 here because it's not defined. Anything not shown is the power 1. And it's not shown what the root power is. It's going to be 2 because these are both default. If they're not shown, oops, come on, focus. There we go. Sorry about that. And then let's talk about the 3 invisible 1s rule. Let's say we have an x. There are 3 invisible 1s. There's a 1 times this, a power 1, and it's divided by 1. There are always 3 invisible 1s. Say you had a 5. It's to the power 1. There's 1 times it and 1 divided by it, or this divided by 1. So we don't show these 3 1s, we just write an x, but those invisible 1s are there all along. We don't write all these 1s, we just write a 5, but they're there all along. So you got to know the 3 invisible 1s are there. That's why there's an invisible 1 here. And on a root symbol, if we don't show the root value, it's by default a 2 root or a square root. So they say, what's the power on the x? 1. Given the square root of x, what is the root value? So that's out here. That's what we just talked about. There's nothing shown. If you just write square root of x, nothing shown, it's a root 2, which is the opposite of a square root, by the way. If you have a square root of an x squared, right, this is a 2, they cancel each other and this equals x. Just so you know, they're opposites of each other in terms of operations. So Given the cubed root of x, so now we have a cubed root of x. What is the power in the x? Well, the x is still to the power 1. Given the cubed root of x, so if it's not shown, it's a 2, but anytime you have a cubed root, like a 3, you got to show it. Otherwise, we would think it was a 2 root. There's nothing showed here, so it's got to be the power 1, but they're asking us what's the root value? 3. Given the fourth root of x, fourth root, x is still to the power 1. We don't show it, though. What is the power in the x? Easy. 1. It's that invisible 1. Okay? So this lesson is just trying to orient the student into understanding what are these invisible values and or shown values, what are their names. Given the fourth root of x, what's the root value? So let's draw the fourth root of x. What is the root value? This is the root, 4. Given the cubed root of x squared, look at this, cubed root of x squared. Now you're talking, right? Like this a lot. What's the power on the x? The power on the x is 2. Okay. Given the fourth root of x cubed, so here's x cubed, and there's a fourth root over it. What is the power on the x? 3. Given the cubed root of x squared cubed root, so let's draw it out first. What's the root value? 3. Because this is called root value, this is called power. Given the fourth root of x cubed, what is the root value? Root value is out here, 4. Given the square root of x, what is the fractional power? I love this one. So let's go ahead and show the invisible power is 1 and the invisible root is 2. What happens is this equals, the 1 goes up top in the numerator position and the 2 goes down below in the denominator position, and the square root of x is actually equal to x to the 1/2 power. So what's the fractional power on the x? 1/2. All right? So remember how this goes. The power on the x under the root symbol is the numerator. The root value is the denominator. And if you remember that pattern and you write it down, then, and it's in the notes too, that we just looked at, given the cubed root of x, so let's do the cubed root of x. What is the fractional power? So do the same thing, rewrite what's under the symbol. It's got a power of 1, so that's up in the numerator, and it's got a root of 3, so that's in the denominator. So its fractional power is 1/3. Given the fourth root of x, what's the fractional power? Okay, fourth root of x. So x with a fourth root on it, that's an invisible 1. So this equals an x to the 1/4. This one goes down here in the denominator position. The root value goes in the denominator, 1/4. Given the cubed root of x squared, here's x squared, here's the cubed root. What is the fractional power? Okay, same thing. The power goes into the numerator position. The root goes into the denominator position. X to the 2/3 power. Notice it is in the superscript position. Super means up, script means small, I guess. And the other thing is subscript. If you ever had, say, x1, this would be the subscript number. There's a superscript here and a subscript here, and notice they're smaller than the original value, etc. Okay, smaller in size. It's a notation. Given the fourth root of x cubed, what's the fractional power? So this goes up into the numerator, 3, and the root value goes into the denominator. This is x to the 3/4 power. Oh, I'm so sorry. Just keep writing away. Let's do that one again. So this one says given the fourth root of x cubed, so here's x cubed and the fourth root of it. The power goes into the numerator. The root value goes into the denominator, and this becomes x to the 3/4 power. All right, now, given x to the 1/2, what is the root value? So this equals, this was the power on the x, so there's x to the 1, and this is the root value outside, 2. So they say, what's the root value? 2. And the other word for that is square root. Another term for 2 root is square root. Given x to the 1/3, so here's x to the 1/3 power. Now we're going to the other direction, so it's x to the 1 power and the 3rd root of that. So what is the root value? 3. Morning, Brian. I got you. I see you. Good job, Sarah. Thank you. All right, so given x to the 1/4, what is the root value? So let's do x to the 1/4 power. This equals x to the power of 1, and the 4th root on it, what is the root value? 4. 4th root. Given x to the 2/3 power, this is the power 2 in the numerator position, so the power is 2. This is the root value, so the root is 3. So they say, what is the root value? 3. Cubed root. Cubed is another name for a 3rd root. A cubed root is another name for a 3rd root. Given x to the 3/4 power, this equals x. The power is 3. The root is 4. So they say, what's the root value? Got to be 4th root. All right, what is the square root of 25? We know square root of 25. It's equal to 5. And, oh, this is interesting. They're doing the algebraic definition here. It should be this one. Okay? It should be plus minus, right? Remember the rule that the square root of 25 has 2 answers. The square root of 25 is 5, and the square root of 25 is -5. Why? Just square them. 5 squared is 25. Check. And -5 times -5, which is squared, is positive 25. Check. So the square root of 25 has 2 answers, a positive and a -5. This is the correct answer here. All right, plus minus 5. All right, make sure you're in the right place. This is Algebra 1, Semester 2. It's the 4th unit called Exponential Functions. It's lesson number 1, Radicals and Rational Exponents. Practice on creatormath.com under the Algebra tab. I hope this helps.